shoe. Look at that. And now we have sound. So with that, I would like to make an introduction and welcome. My name is Barry Kaplan-Schweitzer, and I am the Executive Director of the Dallas Jewish Historical Society. Thank you so much for braving tonight's warm and crazy weather, a marathon route, and everything else possible to join us this evening. And we at the Dallas Jewish Historical Society are proud to say that we are the story keepers of the Dallas Jewish community. Whether through our 20,000 artifacts, or through our 900 plus oral histories, or through educational programming like this, we help to keep the stories alive. My tremendous thanks to our community partners here at the Dallas Holocaust Human Rights Museum for making tonight possible. In addition, events like this are made possible because of members like many of you in this room, as well as through the support and generosity of the Naxon Family Fund and the Renee Stanley Family Fund, who sustain our cultural events like this evening. While our own Shanghai Angel did not have ties to our Dallas community, tonight's musical guests are very important to me. Heather, Bruce, and Joshua play a role in shaping Yiddish music, and we are so excited to have them share Heather's grandmother's story tonight. I'm also excited because my own community mentors, two people who shaped and played a role in my own upbringing as I got to mentor their daughter, are Rosa's children, Jeff and Barbara Klein, who have joined us all the way from Las Vegas. So we welcome you. And with that, I would like, while you're giving applause, to give a warm Dallas Big D welcome to Heather Klein, Joshua Horowitz, and Bruce Bierman.
My grandma Rose was always a mystery to me. She felt distant, and I always wondered why she never told me she loved me. I remember her bright red hair, sharp hazel eyes with green eyeshadow, and bright red lipstick. And I will never forget the sound of her laugh with the smoker's cough that accompanied it. She was thin, which, looking back, is amazing, considering all the plum cake and goulash we ate with every visit. She was a caretaker for my grandfather, who had several strokes, and they had a sweet poodle named Pixie that I played with. Learning more about my grandmother in her early years made me realize that I actually barely knew her. Years earlier in my music career, I started getting interested in Yiddish music, which ultimately led me to music from the Holocaust, and that led me to ask the burning question: how did my grandmother escape Nazi-occupied Vienna? I needed to know more. She told me it was all too sad. All I ever heard was that her neighbors betrayed her. I knew that part, and that only. That neighbor betrayed us, that's all I'll say. We barely got out, and the rest of the family, who knows? But we got out. Now here I am doing what I have to do. That neighbor betrayed us, they knew we were Jews. They watched me grow up, just like that, gave us up. Now I'm here at Angel Island. Vienna's long gone. I must tell this lie to help me get by and hope that no one sees through me. That neighbor betrayed us, and one day someone will ask, and that's all I'll say.
Miss Rosa Sarah Ginsberg. March 7th, 1940. The inspectors at Angel Island in California find Rosa fairly well educated, well-bred, intelligent, alert, and healthy in all ways. But she is denied admittance to America and will be held here at Angel Island indefinitely. Because she has too little cash to travel to her final destination, New York City, she has $2.50 in American money and intends to join her uncle, Joseph Landis, in New York. You are informed that this hearing is for the purpose of determining your right to be admitted into the United States. Your statement will be under oath, and any false statement made may incur a penalty under the law. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
This is a copy of the actual interrogation transcript while my grandmother was detained on Angel Island. This is how it all began. This document unlocked mysteries about her escape from Europe and both raises and answers questions about her time in China. But the real question is, could an immigrant living on Angel Island and arriving there tell the whole truth? I do.
What is your true and correct name?
Rosa Sarah Ginsberg.
Have you used any other name?
No, but I have papers listing Ginsberg, since Ginsberg is sometimes spelled Ginsberg.
For what purpose are you coming to the United States now?
To New York to get married.
Have you been married before?
No.
Why have you decided to come to the United States alone?
To get married.
Whom are you going to marry?
Mr. Herbert Klein.
Where does he live now?
He is living in New York.
Have you ever seen him?
Yes. He is living in the United States currently, but I knew him before in Vienna. I had no idea if all of this was true when I first read this. I thought maybe she was lying to get into the US. Herb gave a sworn statement when interviewed by immigration officers that he had known Rosa since she was 16. Was it true? Maybe. But one thing I did know about her time in Austria, and for much of her life, was that she loved classical music. She was a huge fan of opera and the composer Franz Lehár. So Grandma, this one's for you. So wie die Blume wirkt, wenn sie nicht küsst, der Sonne
Miss Rosa Sarah Ginsberg, do you have any relatives living in New York?
Yes. My uncle in New York, Joseph Landes.
Have you any other relatives in the United States?
Yes, Joseph Moldauer, my cousin in Chicago.
Do you intend to live with your relatives in Chicago or New York?
No, in New York.
Miss Ginsberg, you cannot be processed until we sort this all out.
I'm stuck. They've detained me, and they won't let me
What does your
leave.
cousin
I'm
do
here at
for a
Angel
living?
Island. God knows when I'll be free.
Have you ever seen
Until
your
I
cousin in
show
Chicago?
that my cousins in the East will send money,
Filed the
trade
affidavit
money
of
for
support?
me. I'm stuck.
Have
They've
you ever
detained
seen
me,
your cousin
and they
in
won't
New
let me
York?
leave. I'm here at Angel Island. God knows when I'll be free. The boat ride over cost more than I thought. I was queasy, exhausted. Now 250's all I've got. Oy, oy, oy. I'm stuck. They've detained me, and they won't let me leave. I'm here at Angel Island. Is there hope for me? Officers will question every detail of my life. But please, oh please, don't bother spending money. I'll be fine. I'm stuck. They've detained me, and they won't let me leave. I'm here at Angel Island. Just say a prayer for me. But don't worry, Herbie. Your girl's got a plan. But for now, just know I'm stuck.
Ms. Ginsberg? You arrived at Angel Island with $2.50. Who paid your expenses from Shanghai to San Francisco?
I paid it myself.
Where did you get the money?
It's my own money. I had it in Vienna, and I took it with me.
Where are you going if you get admitted?
To New York.
Who got you out of Vienna and into Shanghai?
A wealthy...
Heather narration.
A wealthy Shanghai Chinese man got it. Yes. According to the transcript, she only had $2.50 when she arrived on Angel Island, and she was stuck. All around her were other immigrants, mostly Asians who were detained, sometimes for a year or more. Being sent back to their countries of origin was a real possibility. So how did my grandmother actually get out of Vienna? Once I began to look into her story, I met someone who closely examined my grandmother's documents. That person was Manly Ho, daughter of the courageous Chinese diplomat Feng Shanho, who saved thousands of Jews from the Nazis in Vienna, and was known as the Chinese Schindler. Manly has performed this kind of research for numerous other Jewish families, but even she wasn't able to pin down exactly how my grandmother got out of Austria. We never found evidence showing Feng Shanho helped our family escape to Shanghai. It seems likely, but since we don't know, let's imagine this.
Ladies and gentlemen, guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. From our own fair city, Vienna, die blaue Engel, the blue angel.
Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shababa-dee-boo. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shababa-dee-boo. No visa, no papers, word got around. Shanghai's the place you'll set your boots down. Everyone's going, we'll see there soon. No visa, no papers, word got around. Sean Ho knows how to take you there. Fret not, for he's gonna take you there. So pack your bag and wipe your tears. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shabba-ba-dee-boo. Hey, you sitting pretty over there. No worry on your face, but I can see it in your stare. You can see it coming and you wish you knew why. Believe it or not, I know a guy. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shabba-ba-dee-boo. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shabba-ba-dee-boo. Fang Sean Ho knows how to take you there. Fret not, for he's gonna take you there. So pack your bags and dry your tears. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shabba-ba-dee-boo. Shh. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shabba-ba-dee-boo. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shabba-ba-dee-boo. So pack your bags and wipe your tears. Shaboo-boo, shaboo-boo, shabba-ba-dee-boo. Shh.
Miss Ginsberg, are your parents now living in Shanghai, your father and mother?
Yes, and my sister Helen.
Is she married, and to whom is she married?
Yes, Mr. Leopold Stiglitz. He is living in Shanghai too.
How are they supported in China?
My mother and father are not working, but my sister is a cashier in a restaurant.
And what does your brother-in-law do?
I don't think he is working.
You were the sole supporter of your family?
Yes, but I stole the moment for myself. Walking the streets of Shanghai. It's cold, dark, it's packed with people, and there are beggars everywhere. It's hard to find some place, any place that feels like home. The war is destroying so many countries, and everyone is coming here. So I go to Little Vienna, dozens of bakeries, bars, and restaurants, all crammed into a tiny neighborhood of Jewish refugees. Viennese gentlemen sip coffee at sidewalk cafes, and at my favorite spot, the tango is danced nightly. Sometimes I forget, even for a moment, that I'm a refugee too. Dear nickel, oi, mir a nickel, ich bin for mein heim so far away. Oi, dear nickel, oi, mir a nickel, who will all live in this decay? But here, oi, here in this cafe, I have a chair, I have a name. Oi, 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 here in this cafe, I am me again. It's clear again, and there's no fear again. Dear nickel, oi, mir a nickel, ich bin for mein heim so far away. Oi, dear nickel, oi, mir a nickel, who will survive just one more day? But here, oi, here on these streets, all eyes are waiting, all mouths are hungry. Oi, 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 here on these dirty streets, I long for home again. And God, I pray, when will that be again? Dear a nickel, dear a nickel, who will survive just one more day? Dear a nickel, give me the strength, a nickel. I may lose myself, a nickel, but here in this cafe, God knows this isn't me, a nickel. Forgive my prayer, a nickel. Give me some hope for one more day.
Miss Ginsberg, were you employed at any time while living in Vienna?
No, I was in a cosmetology school.
What about China?
Yes, I was working there.
What kind of work?
In a curious shop as the sales lady.
How did you get that job?
A wealthy man from China in Shanghai got it for me. This was definitely an unexpected turn. It was one thing to try to imagine my grandparents' courtship during World War II. It was another to try and make sense of this unnamed, wealthy Chinese man. Who was he? And what role did he play in my grandmother's life in Shanghai? How did he help her get a job? How did they even know each other? She always had an affinity for Chinese art and other items. To this day, there is a large framed crochet of Shanghai circa 1938 hanging in my dad's office. We've had it for as long as I can remember, but I think I only really noticed it when I started unearthing Grandma's past.
Was this job in Shanghai?
No, it was in Xin. The store was filled with Chinese furniture and toys and trinkets. But I miss my own things back home. Here in this curious shop, I see something I remember. It's from back there, back home, back home. Incline and simmer in my small room. I remember my priceless possessions in a curio just like this. A pin, a picture, posters of the opera, and a life I knew back home. Home. A big part of the mystery in Grandma's story was that she told the immigration officers that she was coming to the U.S. to get married. According to her transcript, the man who spoke about her marrying, Herb Klein, was interviewed by immigration officials in New York City. He told them he wrote letters back and forth with my grandmother and that he knew her in Vienna. But he also said they had no plans to marry. December 28th, 1939. Dear Rosie, I still can't believe that I'm in New York. It's not an easy place to live.
It's crowded, it's loud, it smells, and right now it's freezing. Remember I was an engineer in Vienna? Well, I'm here serving food and fixing the lights at an orphanage. They let me live here and give me a small salary. It's not great, but I get by. I miss Vienna. Over here, the customs, the language, none of it really makes sense. Everything moves so fast. But sometimes I sneak over to the symphony and can hear them play some of my favorites. I still try to pick each one out by the first 3 notes. Also, I got your picture. Reminds me of home.
In kleinen Zimmer, I dreamed of all of us together in a place that we loved. But here, oh here, in this curious shop, I realize I am so far away from all that I knew.
I will keep writing and sending letters to arrive on the next boat to you and wait for yours in return. I hope you read this and know that I'm here, surviving and waiting. Herbie.
He's not here, I am not there or anywhere. But here in this curious shop, nothing I see is familiar. So I think of his eyes. Of his eyes, and I think of a way to get out of this country. Back to him, we'll be home.
Miss Ginsberg, are you engaged to Herbert Klein?
Not directly, but it is the same thing.
Has he ever asked you to marry him?
Yes, I think so.
Did he ever give you an engagement ring?
No.
Does he write to you?
Yes, every 2 weeks. With every boat comes a letter.
Has Herbert Klein ever sent you money?
No, I never asked for it.
Well, who will pay your way from here to New York?
My uncle will send it to me.
Has your uncle in New York ever sent you or your family anything?
No.
Well, why has he not sent you this money before?
I never asked for it. They would send me anything I asked for, but I never asked for it.
You were informed that your uncle was interviewed by an inspector of our service in New York, and he stated as follows: I do not know what, if any, arrangements have been made for her transportation from San Francisco. I am not ready to pay that. If your uncle cannot pay that, how do you expect to go from here to New York?
Maybe my friend Herb will pay it. But would he? Did my grandma write a letter begging him to help her? She was not the kind of person to ever ask for money, I know that. But she probably knew the officers were starting to get suspicious. And if no one was going to send the money needed to get her off the island, she might have been sent back. But back where? Back to the Shanghai ghettos? Or worse, Nazi-occupied Austria?
Miss Ginsberg, you were informed that Herbert Klein was also interviewed in New York, and he stated that he had a deposit in a New York bank of $27, and that he would not be able to pay your transportation from here to New York.
Then I will send a telegram to my uncle in Chicago. my cousin in Chicago. You see, I didn't know how everything was when I was in China. Otherwise, I would have took money from my mother.
If your parents have about $5,000 American money in Shanghai, why did you not bring enough money to carry you on to your destination?
You never know what could happen to them. I did not want to take it.
You are informed that your friend, Heather Klein in New York, states that he knows you, but that no engagement exists. What do you have to say about this?
Then I will send a telegram to my cousin in Chicago and...
Are you engaged or aren't you?
You see, there are now 2 years between.
He says a formal engagement has never been entered into.
You see, you can write anything on paper.
Is this the picture you sent him?
Yes,
Where was it taken?
Vienna.
You gave him that before you left Vienna?
When he left.
Why does he say you are not engaged?
You see, we are engaged and we are not engaged.
How do you mean we are engaged and we are not engaged?
We are good friends, very good friends.
There is nothing definite as yet?
You see, no. You see, there are now, we are still young people. Hate was the reason Rosa escaped her home in Vienna. When I first decided to visit Angel Island, one of the first things I heard about on our tour was the doors. One door into the immigration station was for Europeans. The other one was for everyone else. Technically a geographic divide, but in reality, a racial one. Not only did they enter through different doors, but they also ate separately. The European arrivals were also treated better. It was an abrupt reversal for my grandmother. After experiencing harrowing anti-Semitism, she was now seen as a European and was not subject to the prejudice other people around her were facing. This is the hate that I just escaped, and now I see it here on their face. When will it end? It just happens again. This is the hate that I just escaped, and now I see it here on their face. When will it end? It just happened again. How can I come so far when there is no change? No change is here, just fear. In this foggy place, this foggy time, will I forget my purpose inside? Are we all frozen, frozen in time? Am I so different, oh, than you? A few hopes and dreams still left to pursue. Am I so different, oh, than you? A few hopes and dreams still left to pursue. I enter this door and you enter yours. Why can't we thrive in each other's world? What is the same? What's here to defend? And now it starts all over again and again. This is the hate that I just escaped, and now I see it here on their face. When will it end? It just happens again. March 24th, 1940. Dear Herb, I don't know what to do. I think the officers figured it out. They told me they questioned you. How could you give my picture away? Of course, you didn't receive my letter. What was I thinking? Was I wrong about us? Ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye, hi dai 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 dai, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye, hi dai 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 dai. Tire, herb, tire, my freedom rests on you. How could you, oy, how could you? I thought I knew you. Give my picture away, oy, my picture away. Now I'm alone in the cell, alone in this cell. Ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye. Hi, bye, dai, dai, dai. Ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye. Hi, dai, 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 dai. I thought you would tell them that we were together. Now I am called all alone in this place. Ya ba ba bye ba bye, ya ba ba bye bye bye, ya bye 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 bye. How can I trust again? I opened my heart. Now you're far away, and your feelings must have changed. I opened my heart. I opened my heart. I could be there in New York with you, not alone in this cell without hope. Tired Herb. Oi, Herbie. I can't sleep. I'm too nervous. I miss my own bed. Every night feels the same here. Last night, I watched a Chinese woman carve a poem into the bunk. I couldn't make out much, except flowery flag. It's what the Chinese call the American flag because the stars look flowery. But it's not a direct translation. It also means hope and a new life. That sounds nice. Talk about going to the land of the flowery flag, that flowery flag. There were words of farewell to the parents, many feelings, many tears, face to face with the flowery flag, that flowery flag. Words harsh as tigers, a taste of it all, leading me back to the flowery flag, that flowery flag. Do not forget the day when you came ashore. Do not forget, do not forget. Not without work, landing on this island. I am still trapped alone with my thoughts. On this lonely island, on this lonely island, when I finally land in the land of the flowery flag.
Miss Rosa Sarah Ginsberg, have you received any communication from your relatives in New York with respect to furnishing your sufficient funds to travel from here to New York?
Yes, I received a telegram today, wired via Western Union, $41.85 for bus to New York. Also, $8.15 for expenses. Bond is being arranged. Love, Aunt Helen.
Who is Aunt Helen?
She is the wife of my uncle.
And with whom do you expect to live if you go to New York?
With my uncle. Yes, here's the telegram. March 28th, 1940. Transportation forwarded by relatives direct to Rose Ginsberg. Expect bond to be placed. Hoping for favorable decision.
Inasmuch as this applicant has received sufficient funds for her transportation and expenses from here to New York, and the uncle has signified an intention to furnish a bond should it be required, I move that this applicant be admitted as a Section 5 immigrant. Ms. Ginsberg, you are now admitted into the United States.
That tiny bunkhouse window, looking out at the water for weeks. There I saw a distant skyline, asked where I was. I'm told it's San Fran. Here's my passport and stamp it for me. Finally, I've got my papers, no more letters, I won't be alone. I will be my family's savior, call this new place my home. Finally, well, she made it. For just over 3 weeks, my grandmother was detained on Angel Island. She arrived in New York City and married her friend from Vienna, my grandfather, Herb Klein. My Aunt Helen eventually settled in San Francisco, and her family had a jewelry store called 14 Carat in the Handlery Hotel off Union Square. In fact, my mother's engagement diamond was from that store, which is now home to an art gallery. When I was a senior in high school in Las Vegas, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go to college to study music, the San Francisco Conservatory or Indiana University. I picked the Bay Area and I lived in San Francisco for 15 years. I started learning about my grandmother's hidden past just as I was about to leave the city and move back to Las Vegas. Here I was, living in a city for so long with so much of my own family history, and I didn't even know it. Where I came from doesn't matter, take away that foreign name. This will be my new beginning, call me Rose, it's the American way. Finally, it's just Rose. Bruce Bierman, Joshua Horowitz. Thank you. Great, and I just wanted to give a chance to the audience to kind of ask us any questions. You know, we're a small, intimate crowd here, so I know there's a lot that we went over, so we can just grab our mics, and if there's anything you want to ask, we're happy to answer. Sorry, what was that? Yeah, so she passed away quite a number of years ago, and when I did ask her, all I found out was that her neighbors had, let the Nazis know about her, but that was really all I knew. I didn't know very much. I feel some survivors that want to tell the story, and some don't want to live through it again. So she was one of those. I think I saw, yeah. What's that? So her father, my great-grandfather, is actually buried in Shanghai, and we went through a little bit of a maze to find out kind of where he was buried. I don't think we ever completely found out, but we did a little search for it, but he is definitely buried there. He was sick when she left, I believe, but yeah, that was, and then my grandmother's mother, my great-grandmother, she was the one that went to Australia. What? Toronto, that's right. She went to Toronto. My dad's here helping me with things I don't remember, thank goodness. Went to Toronto, and they wound up getting, my dad actually, and his sister and mom and dad, they actually drove through the border twice to try to get her, and the second time they did, and they were able to get her in after the war. Did I answer about all the family? And Aunt Helen, the sister, she, like I said, in the end, she moved to San Francisco and settled there. And I actually met, and she had a store, a jewelry store with the jewels that they brought back from Shanghai. I think that's how she started it. That's what made sense to us. Kind of at the bottom of this hotel off Union Square. Yeah. 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 Thank you for coming. I so appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, she didn't tell me anything. You would hope. I mean, I've had to do a lot of little sneaky detective work, I think, to figure things out. So some was me assuming what might happen and putting that in the show, and sometimes it's me in the show kind of getting some information and turning that into a song. The stuff with Feng Shanho, we don't know if Commander Feng Shanho actually did help her, but in the show, for the shows, because he helped so many people, I'm talking about him, and his daughter Man Li had helped me, and it came to a dead end. But as far as just the wealthy man from Shanghai, I saw a picture of her with somebody, and it's going to just continue to be a mystery because there's nothing written on the back.
Was he Asian or was he European?
No, it was, no, it was a Chinese man. It was a Chinese man, a wealthy Chinese man from Shanghai, so it was definitely Chinese. Yes. Sorry, I can't see very well from here, so excuse me. Yeah, so actually there's an anniversary coming up for Feng Shanho and like the Jews that he saved, and an anniversary of his, and it's been talked about, the idea of going there. Like I would love to go to the museum. I just, the past couple of years I haven't been able to, but yeah, that's definitely a dream, is because right now there's a refugees museum there, which it would be really amazing to see. In the Hankou Ghetto. Have you been there? Yeah, my friend's been there too, and actually found some family members of ours, like our names on the wall there, so that's kind of cool. My grandmother was there a little over a year in Shanghai, but she also spent half of it in Shanghai and half in what's now Tianjin, but seen back then. So yeah, as she worked as a sales lady in that curious shop. Yeah, but her parents stayed there a little longer. They were there a couple more years. Anybody else? Yeah, down here.
I thought Shanghai was an open city that people could.
Yeah, it was.
Austria, they didn't need a sponsor.
Well, it was more like people needed help to get out.
Okay.
It was easy to get in, but it was hard to get out of Vienna. So Feng Shanho is actually in Vienna helping. He was a commander there. He was stationed there, and he was helping Jews get out. Yeah, it was easy to get into Shanghai, but you had to get there, right? And get out of Vienna.
There were ships that would. And how did your family do under the Japanese occupation?
I will never know. It's a big guess because I don't know anything about their time there. So it's me just kind of piecing together what I know from the detainment and pictures and stories, which are very few and hard to come by, and me guessing. That's about it. That's how I put it together. Any? Oh, sorry. Let me take. Do you want to say it first, Dad? Yeah.
It's just when the Japanese marched into Shanghai, it was a very brutal time on the folks who lived there in particular.
Yeah.
On the Chinese, and my mother talked. My mother had no love for the Japanese because what she saw there, she talked about babies on the ends of bayonets. But they, once the Jews kind of kept their place, they pretty much left them most of the time alone.
Yeah.
Well, I understand they made them into a ghetto.
Yeah, there was a Jewish ghetto for sure, the Hankou Ghetto, and that's where the Jews lived, and they kind of created like their own world there. They had, a newspaper, they had a synagogue there, and the synagogue is where the actual the museum is now. Yeah, they had a school. So yeah. I found out recently from somebody who's a descendant of somebody, if she's here tonight, who had a family member that sang in the Hankou Ghetto. So if you're here, okay, maybe you're not here, but that was so cool to hear. Anyway, sorry, there was a question somewhere over here. Barry? Yeah.
Did she talk about their courtship once she got to New York and before they got married?
So not to me. Again, I didn't get much information. Maybe my dad knows more. Sometimes at these performances, I learn more. So Dad, if you want to, and then we'll keep writing the story, right? Very little, yeah. Kind of cool about the orphanage. I tracked down somebody who lived in that orphanage, trying to find out if they had been there during the same time. They weren't, but it was interesting to find out what the living was like, because he was like the maintenance person, and he lived there, and he came over early on a soccer scholarship from Vienna. So that's actually why he was there early before her. Soccer.
So they were married after the war was over?
No, I think they were married right when she got there. Like maybe I think it was like what, a year later? Under a year? 41. So yeah, so she came over in 40. It was about a year later. Yep, about a year and a half later. Yeah, never know that story. That'd be fun. Yep. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it gets emotional every time. Yeah, I can't take that out of my voice. It's like always really emotional to do the show. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I really can't see that far. Yes, now I see you.
I think it was about a month ago. They had a operetta kind of thing on PBS about the Jews in Shanghai. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I saw it. It was really great.
So my question is, I got the impression from that the Jews were just well accepted, totally integrated in Shanghai as Chinese. But now you're talking about a ghetto and hate. I'm wondering, do you have any idea really what the attitude was of the Chinese people towards the Jewish immigrants?
So actually, when I was talking about the hate, a lot of the show, that might have made something confusing, actually takes place at Angel Island. So some of the hate that I was talking about is that my grandma had come from Vienna, right, where it was Nazi occupied and she was hated, right? And then she made her way and finally made it to Angel Island after Shanghai. Once she made it to Angel Island, she was watching all these like Asian immigrants coming in being like, like really terribly, treated really terribly. And so once she saw that, that's kind of why I wrote the song. It's an interesting way of feeling like somebody's escaping a place of hate and then getting to a new place and watching another group of people be hated. And so that's actually why. It's not actually about the hate she was experiencing in Shanghai. It was more about the hate she was experiencing when she arrived on Angel Island.
Also, could I just say, we took a tour of
Yeah.
Angel Island, which has always been right there in front of my face, and you can actually go to those barracks and see the carved poems
Yeah.
on the walls. But to my knowledge, Angel Island was not an Ellis Island. It was built to exclude the Asians into coming, and so many were sent back.
Right. So it was a very, really going there and like seeing the different doors for Europeans, and it really affected us, and like especially with so much hate in the world, it felt like, this show has gone through a lot of rewrites, and just with the times it's changed, and with different things we've seen, it's changed. So it's ever evolving. Sorry, and I can't see anybody. Oh, up there, yeah.
Do y'all live in the Metroplex, or do y'all, whereabouts, where else do y'all come?
I live in Las Vegas.
Berkeley.
Yeah. And I would work with them in Berkeley, and that's how, we know each other. Yeah, this is actually all three of our first time to Dallas. So this is very exciting. So thank you for having us. Barry, do you want to?
With that, knowing that we potentially have other questions about the exhibit and about Shanghai, the exhibit itself that is part of the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum, it's open, and we would love to be able to have you learn a little bit more about Jews of Shanghai. We just walked through that door, and we can get a better sense. It's past where the entrance is, or close to the entrance by the gift shop.
Oh, cool. Thank you.